Welcome! My name is Luyren, and this is my Stencyl resource pack tutorial series, where I explain and showcase the resource packs I have developed for use in your Stencyl games. Check Part 1 to learn about Stencyl and resource packs. Part 3-1 Luyren's Cutscene Pack Introduction. Today I'll be introducing the Cutscene resource pack and explain how it works. It has two core elements. First, it allows you to create cutscenes for your Stencyl games. You can think of it as scenes in a movie, where events unfold without player input. It is a system in which you create scripts, and elements in the game will act according to those scripts. You can create story scenes, NPC interactions with fully customizable dialogue and option layouts, treasure chests, enemy AI patterns, entire visual novels, and probably a lot more, with enough ingenuity and creativity. There's also a day and night cycle behavior, which, combined with the scripting system, allows you to create actors that conform with a daily schedule. Second, it has a versatile control configuration system that works for both keyboard and gamepads. You get a scene behavior to fully customize a menu for that, with options such as swapping between two controls, icon support, and default control mapping. You can also display the name of a button or key tied to a control within the dialog system. You can play the showcase game for free in the itch.io page to see some of its features in action. There's also a free version available, with a very simplified cutscene system you can try out. Consider those if you're unsure if this is worth purchasing. And if the free demo is enough for your needs, by all means enjoy it. This pack contains within it all the behaviors in both my miscellaneous and RPG elements packs, integrated with the scripting system. This means that parts 1 and 2 of this video series are also valid for this pack. If you need help with any of the behaviors listed here, refer to those videos. Links will be in the description. This also means that you don't need to import those packs to your game along with this one. That could lead to unexpected problems. For this resource pack, I've decided to break it down into smaller videos, which will allow me to cover each topic more in depth. Today I will show what's included in the pack when you purchase it, the sample game, and the free demo, and I'll also explain the basics of the scripting system using the demo version. Any discrepancies between this video and your version of the pack most likely means you have an older version. You can still follow along, just remember to properly read the descriptions in the behaviors of your version. As always, links to get this, along with all my other resource packs, will be available in the description. With all that said, let's get started. Here's the itch.io page for the pack. At the top, you have the HTML5 version of the sample game, which you can play directly in your browser. It shows features and some possibilities of what you can do with this pack. The body of the page has a brief description of the pack, along with GIFs showcasing more of it. At the bottom of the page, you have a button to purchase it, as well as one to download the free demo. What do you get with the demo? It comes with a simple Events Manager behavior. It is a heavily simplified version of the Events Manager behavior, which executes cutscene scripts. It also contains a PDF with documentation for it. What do you get when you purchase the full version? For $10 you get Luyren's Cutscene Pack and Luyren's Cutscene Pack RPG variation. The only difference between the two is that the RPG variation contains all the behaviors of my RPG Elements pack in it, integrated with the scripting system, along with one exclusive behavior for a charge action, which will be explained in a later video. As some users might not have need for RPG Elements, I decided to have these two versions separately. You only import one of the versions into your game. When in doubt, import the RPG variation, as it is the more complete of the two. Along with the packs themselves, you get a behaviors list PDF, explaining each behavior and their attributes, a documentation file explaining how to use the pack, and some sample scripts that you can learn from or customize to use as is. For $12 you also get the sample game project file, detailed documentation on how each actor, scene, and cutscene is configured, and the files for all the scripts used in it. The scripts here are more elaborate and use more of the behaviors of the pack, including more NPC interactions, a racing minigame, and a spot you can plant a seed and get an item after some in-game time has passed. You also get samples of the day and night cycle behavior configured in multiple scenes. Beware that, as of the publication of this video, itch.io doesn't support incremental purchases. That means you cannot purchase the pack for $10 and later add just $2 for the simple game and scripts. Please consider that before purchasing the pack. To import either of the variations of the pack into your game, go to File, Import Resource, and select the version you want. Now let's take a look at the free demo and the basics of creating scripts. If you purchase the full version, this will still be useful to understand how everything works. If you already have the demo imported into your game, unless you already make heavy use of it, I recommend you re-download it from the itch.io page to get the latest updates and bug fixes. Importing the demo is the same process as previously described. This is the simple events manager behavior. You attach it to actors you want to perform cutscene events or events by itself in general. Let's quickly go over the attributes and their default values. Activated determines if the actor will start playing its script as soon as it is created or not. You can have the actor start executing the script at a later moment by using the Activate Cutscene trigger. Likewise, you can interrupt the execution of a script by using the Deactivate Cutscene trigger. The default value is true. Hide simply hides this actor. This can be useful to have one actor controlling the cutscene behind the scenes. It is false by default. Cutscene actor is one actor on the scene designer that you can select to be targeted by the cutscene events. To configure it, place your actor on the scene designer. Select it, and go to the Inspector tab. Here, click the Customize checkbox, and go to the Simple Events Manager behavior. If you click on the Cutscene Actor attribute, you will be prompted to select any actor on the scene. This is called Instance Customization, and it means that only this specific actor you placed on the scene designer has the Cutscene Actor attribute set. It's better to only do that after you're done configuring the script. Any changes you make to the actor later on will have to be done here. Facing value name is the name of an actor value that determines the direction the actor is facing. When using any of my resource packs, the default name facing is used. The events list attribute is where you create the scripts themselves. It starts with a sample event by default, showing you the proper format. Before the vertical bar is the condition key. If no condition is needed, you set it to a dash. After the vertical bar is the event index, the wait time before playing the next event, and the event time with its parameters. The conditions map holds the conditions you can use for your events. Here, you set the number of conditions and check for attributes, actor values, or game attributes. You give each condition set a key, and use that key in the events list to check for them. The conditions map has one sample value configured by default. The key is condition check 1. And this is what you set in the events list to call for conditions. This specific event will check for the conditions configured in the condition check 1 key to determine if the event can be executed or not. The default value checks for one condition, set it to check a value for self, which means this actor, and the condition is a template to check if an attribute from an actor behavior is equal true. If you want a scene behavior, you replace the :actor with :scene. If you want an actor value, replace it all with local between square brackets. For game attributes, replace it with global between square brackets. Debug is true by default, which will draw the event index number, the wait time progress, the targeted actor by the event, and the last event played all on screen, at this actor's position. It will also print those values on the log viewer or game controller. And debug font is the font used for all those drawings. You might have noticed a wall of text as the description of the events list attribute. It contains all the events you can call for your script, so you need to check it constantly as you go. For example, if you want to change the speed of an actor, you use the speed event and its parameters. This is also present in the documentation, so you can check it there instead. You can create new events if needed. To do that, open the behavior and go to the Events custom event. At the very bottom, you'll see a deactivated cluster of blocks. Create a copy of it by holding Shift and taking it out, or by creating a selection area and right-clicking it. Activate the new copy, put it back into the main event, and configure it as needed, using the template parameters. If you need more parameters, just increase the index in the parameter templates. It is also recommended that you document any new events you create, either by editing the attribute's description or writing it somewhere else. For the sake of comparison, let's see how the full version looks like, fully configured. It has more activation options, and a lot more events and conditions. You can also see that conditions and events are configured in the same list. Let's now create a script to get a feel for it. We'll have one actor control two others to move back and forth. After they've done that a number of times, they will stop moving and the script will be deactivated. One of the actors will be from the scene designer and another will be created by the script. This is not that much different from coding in Stencyl, really. The advantages of using this system is that you specify a wait time after each event, and you can reuse this behavior in multiple actors, for multiple purposes. I've created this script beforehand, so I import the events and the conditions and show you the logic behind them. You can configure lists and maps on text files and just import those. And this is the recommended way to configure your scripts. For lists, each line in the text file corresponds to one index on the list. For maps, each line has a key and its value, and you separate them with an equal sign. When you need to make substantial changes to the script, I recommend you edit it in the text file, then remove all items from the list on your actor and import the new script. As the publication of this video, there's no easy way to fully clear a list attribute, so we have to delete the items one by one. Let's start with the conditions we'll use. I've set up 3 conditions, all of them in the same format. They make only one condition check. They retrieve values from this actor specifically. And this can be changed to the cutscene actor or to a created actor if needed. And they check if an actor value is equal a certain value. If the counter local value is equal 4, if the direction local value is equal right, and if the direction local value is equal left. You can see the slashes separating the number of conditions, the actor to check, and the condition itself. If you add more slashes, you can check for more conditions, using the same format here. For reference, this is how those conditions look in block form. When building the scripts, we'll use just the keys on the map to call for the conditions checks needed for each event. Now, let's go over the script, event by event. Once again, each event is configured as follows: the condition key, or a dash, a vertical bar, and the event index, the wait time in seconds, and the event type and its parameters, separated by commas. Event index is the order of that event in the script. If you create multiple events with the same index, only the topmost on the list will execute, provided it passes its condition check. They start at index 0. And at event index 0, this script starts with a wait event. It doesn't execute anything, just starts the wait time to the next event. Event index 1 creates an actor of type called purple circle. On scene coordinates x 101, y 175, at layer ID 0, starting animation 0, and it's stored with the key actor A. Stored actors can later be referenced within the script and be targeted by events. Event index 2 sets a local value called direction to right. Setting local values need a target, an actor you want to set the value to. Since we haven't set a target yet, by default the target is self, or this actor. There's a wait time of 1 second before the next event can be executed. You'll notice we have 2 events with index 3. The first one has the counter condition used. It moves to index 11 if the condition is met. The second has no condition, and it sets the cutscene actor to be targeted by the events. This is basically a way to make if-otherwise checks within the script. If the top event doesn't pass its condition, the one below will execute. For now, let's assume the condition hasn't passed and the second one was executed. The actor to be targeted by the events is now the cutscene actor. Event index 4, once again, has two versions. Both use the speed event to set the cutscene actor's speed. 1 to 10, moving right, and the other to -10, moving left. Since we set the direction local value to right at index 2, the first one will execute. Event index 5 sets the actor to be targeted by the events to be stored actor at key actor A. This is the actor we created and stored at event index 1. Event index 6 is the same as event 4, moving the actor. But since we changed the target actor, it will now move the actor we created instead. Event index 7 sets the target actor back to self. And event index 8 increments a local value called counter by 1. We will use this to count how many times the actors have moved before stopping the script. There's a wait time of 0.5 seconds before continuing. Event index 9 changes the direction local value. If it was right, sets to left, and vice versa. Event index 10 will start a loop, and the script will continue starting from that index. The loop will repeat until it plays 4 times. That's because the counter local value is incremented each pass, and the condition checks if counter is equal 4. When it is, it will jump to event index 11. Event index 11 until the end is an ending sequence of sorts. It will set the speed of the cutscene actor to 0, kill the stored actor A, set the counter local value to 0. Finally, event index 16 will return to event index 0, but will also stop the execution of the script, thanks to the last stop optional parameter. We've gone over the script and the conditions. Now we need to configure the cutscene actor. I've described how it's done previously, but here it is one more time. As a reminder, this actor now has instance customization on. If you want to change anything for this actor on this scene, you must do it through here. Changes on the actor type itself won't affect this actor on this scene. Now let's see the script in action. Some final notes. Read the description of the attributes and the documentation. It will show you the event types available and the proper format when customizing everything. Test the events as you go. If you try to configure a script in its entirety before doing any tests, you'll have a harder time finding errors. Use the debug functions to make sure the proper actors are targeted and your events are following the order you want. That's it for today. Hopefully, this will give you an idea of how the cutscene pack works, what's possible with it, and help you understand the basics of both the full version and the free demo. The next videos will go over more specific aspects of the full version of this resource pack, such as dialog, options, and the control configuration systems. Thank you for watching.